it's your turn to...
Oh, is it for me?
Consider yourself fired.
Why are you winking at me?
Consider yourself fired.
Hello, and welcome to the JT and Drew Show. I'm JT.
And I'm Drew.
And we're two nobodies talking about nothing.
Consider yourself fired.
Hey, man, what are you doing?
Just pouring us a couple drinks for the show.
Us? You know I don't drink.
Yeah, but just because you don't drink means that it's the same for everybody.
Right, and I wouldn't push that on anybody, but I don't drink.
Yeah, well, have you heard Mr. Ooh, look at me about one of Biden's new and latest and greatest potential guidelines or policies coming about?
No.
Yeah, well, you'll love this one. Just like we've talked about previously on the show, control, conquer, command and control, C2. Power is everything when you're in politics, right?
Yeah, I used to play the game Command and Conquer.
What was that one where you would be a country and then you could take over other countries? Risk.
I love Risk.
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So this, in true dictatorship, because...
Fashion?
True dictatorship. Ooh, chips sound good right now. Maybe
Need some Doritos with that drink?
In true dictatorship fashion, because Big Brother knows everything that's good for us, just like COVID and vaccines and masks and, you know, we know what's best for you. You don't have to worry about it. You just sit back, relax, and we'll tell you.
Right.
Biden's alcohol czar, Dr. George Koob, the director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, is taking a look at the current American guidelines that recommend 2 drinks per day for men and 1 drink per day for women. And let it be known that Dr. Koob does enjoy a couple drinks a day himself, as noted in one of the articles. And he is at a point now where he's kind of reevaluating the guidelines that come from the Institute. And they're up for, I guess, rewriting in 2025. So he's kind of prepping. And one of the things he's saying is, I think, if anything, we're going to get a little bit more stringent on these guidelines.
Really?
Yeah. So right now, they recommend 2 drinks a day for men, 1 drink a day for women.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in his inspiration, if you will, he's looking north to Canada.
Ooh.
And he says, quote, the U.S. may follow Canada's footsteps on alcohol guidelines, end quote. What are their guidelines, you ask? I'm glad you asked that question, JT.
I didn't.
Their guidelines are 2 drinks a week.
What?
Yeah, I didn't stutter. 2 drinks a week.
I said what I said.
So his rationale for this is, if there's health benefits, I think people will start to reevaluate where we're at. There are no benefits to physical health from drinking alcohol. And then he goes on to say that he's pretty sure American alcohol consumption guidelines are not going to go up. So, of course, the press being the press, you know, they get a hold of these statements and these articles, and they ask the White House press secretary, what is Biden's stance on this? Because this is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
And in true press secretary fashion, she answers, I'm not going to speak to that from this podium. However, Biden says that he'll leave it to the experts. I think we've heard that before.
Yeah, we sure have. That sounds a lot like the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
But let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's talk about this one.
Yeah. So I did a little digging, and I'm not sure. I can't find anywhere, you know, like, hey, this is going to be going into law. And, you know, they're going to put up proposition whatever that forces you to only have 2 drinks a week, or they're going to come, or somebody's going to tattle on you, or they're going to... I don't know any of that yet. That hasn't been revealed.
Okay.
But they're revealing that, if anything, we're probably going to emulate Canada and their 2 drinks a week guidelines.
But Canada's made it like a rule.
Well, Canada's
If I'm not
the United States.
If I'm not mistaken.
So,
Right.
So
Yeah.
how about Canada do Canada things or Canadian things, and the United States do the United States things?
Do you know the first tax that America had?
Tea? I don't know. Stamps?
No.
Alcohol?
No. You're close. After we became a country, like, hey, people are recognizing us. We've won our independence. Our first tax in America, in order to pay everything off, was the whiskey tax. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but a little thing. The one and only president actually commanded troops into the field because people were mad about taxes again. That's the whole point of the whole revolution. And you're going to tax the one and only thing that Americans were selling. So President Washington got on a horse with the military and said, "Hey, we need this in order to pay off our debt."
Wasn't there a whole movement also in the early 1900s? Maybe it's called like potatoism? No. Pro-choice? No.
Prohibition?
Prohibition, that's the one.
I'm here for you, man.
And what are those called? Speak loudlies? Speakeasies?
Yeah, speakeasies.
Yeah, got to do it in secret because the government is coming after them and like going into bars and shutting them down and all this stuff.
Yeah. So do you predict this being our next prohibition?
I don't know that it's going to go that far.
Okay.
However, I can see elements of it for sure.
Yeah.
The issue that I see real quick is it's already taxed. They're already getting money from people. They're getting a lot of money from people.
Yes.
So by doing this, they're going to be losing a lot of money.
Yes.
Depending on how aggressively they go about enforcing these guidelines. And again, it's more control over people's lives. I don't think it's healthy for anybody to sit there and binge drink all day.
Right.
However, what I do in the confines of my own home is my business, and I don't need the government to say, whoa, Drew, that's one too many. You're at home. You're not out driving or anything. You're at home, and we don't like that you're doing this, so you need to stop, or else. Because what's the or else going to be? Prison?
Going to prison. Police are going to knock on your door and ask for a sobriety test.
Yeah. Oh,
so
we noticed that you just got back from the store today, and you had purchased a 30 rack. Are there 15 people here, so y'all could each have 2? Oh, it's just you here. So what do you plan on doing with the other 28? You gonna space them out over the next couple months, or how's that gonna work? Yeah, we're gonna need to confiscate those. You can keep 2 for this week. Like, seriously, how far is this gonna go?
Yeah. Well, like I was going to say before rudely interrupted.
So anyway,
I don't think this is going to...
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think this is going to work. Americans love to drink. And again, I don't drink.
Right.
Years ago, I did. But then I stopped. I had my fill. I'm good to go. But there are a lot of people who love the taste of alcohol, and it helps them through things. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. However, you're not going to stop Americans from drinking. As we said, prohibition did not stop Americans from drinking. In fact, it increased it, and we were just doing it behind your back, even though you knew about it.
Yep.
And then that was the rise of gangsters and Al Capone. Then you had the Valentine's Day Massacre. People were dying over this stuff.
Well, and do you really... Let's take a step back for a second. Do you really think people like Nancy Pelosi are going to let this happen? I don't know of a time when she wasn't drunk and up there speaking. Now, I have no factual basis to make that claim, other than just listening to her slurred speech 1,000,000% of the time. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. You're taking away people's choice. And historically speaking, in America, in the United States of America, people don't like that. We like our freedom.
No. Mm-hmm.
This isn't anything that is against the law or that is illegal at this point anymore. So why are you infringing on that?
Yeah, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Where we work.
So
there are plenty of work centers and communities and whatnot that, hey, they have a promotion, they celebrate, they'll have drinks, or they are celebrating a wedding or a birthday party or whatever.
yeah.
And you're going to say people can have 2 drinks a week. Again, how are they planning on enforcing this? I don't know yet. That'll be the real interesting part. Or if it's just going to be, don't eat McDonald's every day or you'll get fat, just so you know.
They would never do that.
No.
They want you to be fat.
Well, they got what they want out of me.
Because then you can't run. Hey, sometimes we only have McDonald money, if you know what I mean.
If you know.
So I think, in again, tinfoil hat, right? Because we're loving to do this these days.
Yeah.
So tinfoil hat. I bet the only way that they can actually make this happen is if your neighbors rat you out, just like they do in the communist countries. Now, the far left people want communism to come into this country and rule it, because according to them, well, it may not have worked in their countries, but we can get it to work here.
Yeah, if I'm in charge, I can make it work.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you.
That's based off of your neighbors ratting you out, and we have seen with COVID, and I'm going to trickle down this rabbit hole just a tiny bit.
Okay.
Where if you weren't wearing a mask or you weren't vaccinated, you were shamed. So if you go home with a 30-pack of beer, or you come home with 4 or 5 bottles of whiskey or brandy or whatever, and your neighbor sees that, they're going to call the authorities, and then the authorities are going to be at your house wondering why you have all this alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
And they would probably incentivize it, right? Like, hey, if you've got a tip for us, here's $100. Or on the even more radical side of it, hey, if you see it and you don't report it, we'll take you in too. Mm-hmm. And we'll make a few examples of some people so that you'll believe us. So when you see it, you'll let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it could get really ridiculous really quickly, and it's not even so ridiculous that it's far-fetched. We saw that with COVID mandates. Yeah, oh, that's far-fetched. That's not going to happen. You're crazy. And then it happened.
Yeah, but then you see, if you know any kind of history, you see it repeating itself over and over, and it's coming back. Yeah. So why wouldn't this come back?
Yep.
I don't know. That's just me.
Now, with this, we're going to transition a little bit. But you would have to be having more than 2 drinks a week to start opening up the border wall and think that, hey, this is a great idea.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen the videos. Ladies and gentlemen, so if you have not seen the videos, Drew's about to drop a bombshell on you.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, sir. Let them know what they did in Arizona.
Yeah, so if you don't know, Arizona had a stretch of border wall that the previous administration had worked on. And allegedly 114 gates of that border wall have been welded open. Not just like, oh, hey, I'm going to open the gate and then I can close it later. They're welded. They're not going anywhere. They're stuck in the open position.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, this is along the Mexico-Arizona border. So what does that mean? Well, that means that immigrants can freely walk through those gates and come over to the United States illegally. Much easier.
Without seeking asylum, without going through the right channels to do any of that. Nope, hey, just come on in.
Yeah. And this isn't just for, or doesn't just apply to illegal immigrants. We're seeing an uptick in criminals, cartels, child trafficking, you name it. If there was ever a time to exploit that weakness in our border security, well, shoot, they opened the door and invited us in.
They sure did. And they just said, come on in, folks.
Yeah. Arizona's seen nearly 40,000 illegal immigrants come through and be apprehended, which is actually leading the nation in the highest number of apprehensions. I wonder why. Interesting.
40,000 illegal immigrants. Doesn't this mean that under the Biden administration, there's been about 136%, if I'm doing my math correctly, 136% increase in illegal immigrants into the United States?
Let me see. So 136, carry the R, silent T. Yeah, 136% increase of illegal immigration since July of 2022.
Man, this is insane.
Yeah, pretty freaking insane. Again, this isn't, well, we're going to make the fence shorter because, we somehow can crazily try to justify that because you're too stupid to know the better. No, they opened the door. That's not like, well, just leave your door unlocked and criminals won't come because the door is closed. No, just leave your house open.
Yeah.
If people come, they come. If they don't, they don't. But hopefully they won't.
Yeah.
Oops,
I mean, who
did.
left the AC on? Come on, we're not out here air conditioning the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, no freaking joke. Oh, man. Again, can't make this stuff up. You'd have to be drunk to think, hey, yeah, this is a totally great idea. So I don't know how that whole 2-drink-a-week rule is going to apply. Or maybe it will help out, and they'll be like, oh, wow, we came up with some really dumb ideas. Now that we're sober, we can revisit those.
Yeah, so, stupid question, though.
Yeah.
And I know our listeners are going to be like, really, JT? But who's in danger of this, of the Biden administration doing this particular action on the border? No, wait. Isn't that everybody?
I'm glad you asked that question, JT. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Everybody, every American citizen. Again, you may not feel it right now, just like New York and the Northeast wasn't feeling when Texas was being flooded and is being flooded with illegal immigration.
By the millions?
Oh, well, that's their problem, da-da-da-da. And then they start showing up over there, and it's like, oh, crap. We need to implement a state of emergency. We can't handle all these immigrants. This is a problem for us now. So it may not be a problem for them right now. They may not feel the pain, but they will later. And who else will it hurt? There's an article right here. Illegal alien freed into U.S. from southern border, charged with killing 11-year-old. That could have been completely avoided.
Well, Drew, now could that have been completely avoided? I'm sure it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, he, the illegal immigrant, crashed into a school bus filled with children in Ohio.
Holy mackerel.
So
are you kidding me?
I'm going to guess, 1, illegal immigrant. 2, probably doesn't have a valid driver's license.
No.
3, probably doesn't legally own a vehicle here.
He probably was driving a manual and forgot which pedal the brake was.
Well, those are made in Mexico, aren't they, Manuel?
That is, oh my God, that 100% could have been avoided. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so when you ask, who's at danger here, anybody. and everybody. Talk to the ranchers down there on the border. Who's in danger here?
So why doesn't the governor just cut the welds and close the gates?
That is an excellent question that unfortunately I don't have the answer to.
Or, and hear me out, and I'm not calling for complete and like mass hysteria or anything like that, or a complete violent act, but why don't the people just cut the welds and shut the door?
Well,
shut the gates.
I'll answer your question with a question. What happened when Texas decided, you know what? We are going to take matters into our own hands and put up a makeshift border in the river there with buoys to make it harder for them to cross.
Yeah. DC sued him.
Yep. Federal government steps in and goes, whoa, you can't protect your own state. You can't do this.
This is a federal border, not a state border.
Yeah, but the federal government's not helping out, so what the heck is the state left to do?
Yeah, how the heck do I... How do I protect my backyard?
Yep. So, interesting.
Not your problem,
times.
Texas. It is very interesting. This is getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah, speaking of crazy, did you know that NASA found life on Mars and then killed it?
I had not heard that. Oh, my goodness. Who was in charge of it, Jesse?
Probably farted.
Oops. Oh, my goodness. So this one's right up my alley. Yeah, so NASA found life about 50 years ago, roughly, and said, yeah, we may have killed it. We may have drowned it.
Oh, gosh. How do you drown it?
How do you do anything? How do you breathe? How does your heart beat?
Yes.
I don't know. It's NASA.
Yeah, one article I found said that they thought at the time, on Earth, if we put water out, it will attract a life source.
Right.
So their thinking was, hey, we'll put water out. And I don't know if this was like, hey, we're going to put a dog bowl of water out, or if this was, hey, we're going to flood the planet. I don't know. But the idea was that it'll attract life. The life form will come to the water because this is such a dry and dusty planet. They're going to want water.
Right.
And, yeah, you're right. They definitely drowned it. One of the, what do you call that? Comparisons they made was if an alien came to Earth and abducted you and then decided, oh no, this human looks dehydrated, he needs water, and then drops you in the middle of the ocean, thinking that, well, this will help him.
You can just, yeah, it's water.
Yeah, so that was the comparison that they made. But, very, very interesting.
Yeah, well, there's been videos and everything that's been out, and if you're into the whole science thing, how they used to look at microbes and the gases and all that, that was changed right after a scientist who had created I think it was the Viking? No. One of those scientific stations that they landed on Mars, they changed it right after they found out that their testing met the criteria for life on the planet. I think it was like 50 microbes per million, and then they went up and they're like, no, I think we need like 5,000 microbes per million, and the guy's been fighting it for years. I don't know the gentleman's name.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, so, I mean, there's videos all over us, and he actually goes in and talks about it and how disappointing it was that NASA changed it just before the information was pushed out to the public. And it must be frustrating to set a standard, launch a rocket, get your probe or get your science station to the planet that you're trying to get to, and then your leadership goes, yeah, I mean, it does meet it when we launched it, but now it doesn't.
Yeah, we're going to need you to go back and get a little more.
Yeah, and then you can't meet that criteria because there's not that many microbes in the soil or just under the soil.
Yeah.
You got to dig a little deeper.
Speaking of digging a little deeper, I wonder what Bill is up to these days.
Bill?
Yeah. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill.
Science rules.
That guy is a...
Yes.
I'll keep my comment to myself.
Yep. 100% agree. But,
He used to be loved.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, what was that thing that you said the other day? We were talking about NASA and something about HR.
yeah, so I just don't understand how NASA can show pictures of their black holes and it's breaking news. But when I do it, it's an HR violation. You got anything for me on that one?
You know, I'm trying to think about it without thinking about it.
Well, you need to because you're the one who takes the picture. It's not like it's a selfie.
You said you weren't going to say that part out loud.
Well, it's highlighted.
Golly.
So I hope NASA figures their stuff out. Future missions. Let's go to Europa. Let's find life in the oceans that's there. Let's go to Titan. Let's discover new life. Let's do all these things, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully World War III won't stop this. Hopefully we can stay in a technological era that still allows us to have space travel and all that. But, the world's crazy.
I would be one of the first ones to sign up. I've always wanted to go to Europe, and I remember the Titans, so I think I'm a shoo-in.
Okay, yeah. But you didn't want to visit Uranus?
Been there, done that. Got the toilet T-shirt.
It's clogged.
Yeah, sometimes
Clogged
it is.
with the T-shirt.
Not that, but okay.
All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. I know it was a lot of information all at once. Thanks for sticking with us. We tried to make some light of it. Obviously, you can't make light of children passing away. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So
Can't make light of JT's dark holes either.
no, it's a HR violation.
Yeah.
We will see you on the next episode.
Catch ya.
Later.
Alligator.
As always, we'd like to say thank you for stopping by and listening to the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that you could have been doing anything way more productive, but you chose to waste your time with us.
We look forward to talking about absolutely nothing with you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at
jtandrewshow@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/jtdrewshow.